record button, I think, if I
Got
can find it. Yep. And there we are. Mute everybody. Hello, everyone. Today is Tuesday, the 14th of September. Oh, my God. Approaching the last quarter of the year. Yikes. Officially autumn. Welcome, everyone. Hi, Virginia. Hi, John. Hi, Gail. And Daisy's just joined us. Hello, Daisy. You are on the John Lavinia Success Mastermind group, just in case you didn't know where you were. And I am your hostess or facilitator, and it's Ivié Barnabas. And I was thinking of what to talk about today. And I realized that a lot of us, I mean, and I'm probably number one culprit of doing this. We make assumptions. We don't have the facts. We don't have proof. But somehow our brains just draw some conclusion that we are comfortable with, right? And it makes us the good guys. So I looked up the definition of the word assumption. And I thought, okay, I mean, I have two definitions that I will give, and I love those. But I just thought, you know what, let's start with the official definition. And one that I really liked was a thing that is accepted as true or as certain to happen without proof. So a thing that is accepted as true or as certain to happen without proof. So if you're looking for a title for our conversation today, it's the tragedy of assumptions, right? My definitions of assumptions, one is not particularly PG, so I'm going to try and make it as PG as I possibly can. Assumption is the mother of all F-ups. So that's my number one definition, right? My second definition, I think, is only slightly better. When I say slight, I mean marginally better. Assumptions make an ASS out of you and me. Assumptions make an ASS out of you and me. I did warn you that it wasn't entirely PG, but I think we're all of age, and I hope everybody on YouTube, please forgive me, but those are my assumptions. So there's a story I'm going to tell, and it will bring the point home. And I'm going to bring it back, obviously, into business world, right? So there was a party, like a housewarming party, and I don't know how true this is, but I heard this story via. And so this guy obviously arrives, and everyone's already there. So he goes from guest to guest, extends his hand, shakes everybody hello, introduces himself as you would, if you're kind of like the last person to join the party. And he gets to this one guy, and he extends his hand, right? And this guy just doesn't take his hand, doesn't reach out, nothing. So of course, after like a minute or a minute and a half, this guy who's just joined the party kind of like shakes his head and goes away, one, embarrassed at himself for extending his hand to this gentleman who didn't return the favor. But secondly, and even more potent was this emotion, he was angry at this man who wouldn't take his hand, right? And so he was still stewing over this, got himself a drink, was working the room, only for him to realize that every other person that went up to that particular man after he had tapped the guy on the shoulder, and the guy extended his hand, and that was how they were able to shake his hand. Why? Because that chap was blind, right? So he didn't see the extended hand. But this fellow had gone off and was stewing right through the party and probably complaining to anyone who would listen how that man hadn't returned his handshake or hadn't extended his hand or was just being rude or whatever, conclusions he'd drawn. Well, of course, he felt mighty silly with himself, right? And so I thought to myself, how often do we make assumptions? So we call somebody up, maybe it's a business partner or it's a supplier, or it's the marketing person, or it's the person doing your copy, or it's the person who's taking your photographs and you want to use them in your listing on Amazon, and you call them and they don't answer. Or you leave a voicemail, they don't return your call, right? We automatically draw conclusions and say, okay, that person's ducking and diving because they haven't done the work, right? We don't think that they could be busy. They could have an emergency, right? We never think of those kind of excuses. We always automatically go to the one that's going to make us look the best we possibly can, right? So we start stewing and start saying, oh, but I paid the fee already. My photos aren't ready. I wanted to get my listing done by the end of this week. And we go off on a tangent. We work ourselves up. Our blood pressure goes up. We give ourselves a headache. We're borderline manic. And that like sets the tone for the rest of our day, right? All because we made that one assumption that that phone call that wasn't returned was that person was avoiding you. That person didn't want to talk to you. Or even worse still, that person hadn't done the job you paid for, right? So that's one example. Second example, we send an email. And I mean, I always say I reply to emails within 24 hours. I mean, anything more than that, then quite frankly, I'm not present, right? Even when I'm on holiday, I try to like dial in at least once a day just to make sure I don't come back to, oh my God, an impossible inbox, right? So after 24 hours is when I start thinking of excuses that makes me look good, right? But once again, we never think that maybe that person's out of the country. Maybe that person's Wi-Fi is down. We automatically assume that person's incompetent, they don't know how to respond, they don't know the 24-hour rule, whatever it is going to make us feel and look the best possible according to us, right? So I don't know where you are in your business and if you've made any assumptions of late. What I want to say is, oh my God, the tragedy of assumptions. Like if we go into business relationships like that, or while we're trying to form a lasting relationship with our suppliers, hopefully we're going to extend our product line, or that supplier is going to help us with packaging down the line. If we go in from the first conversation, making assumptions about that person, about that relationship, it's not really going to like work out in our favor. It's going to go downhill before we have a chance to. So I was thinking to myself, okay, what other assumptions have I made, right? So, and I'm putting myself in the hot seat here because this was just really bad of me, right? So I went to the gym probably a couple of months ago now because I haven't been in a while, which is why I got the cross trainer at home because work has just been crazy. And when I got to the gym, there was this particular person I'd seen before, and I thought, oh my goodness, this person was like really fit. Like the last time I was in the gym, they'd lost a lot of weight. I mean, they were getting definition, blah, blah, blah. And so I started thinking, could it be the same person? Because the person looked different, right? Person had put on a lot of weight, right, for starters. And person wasn't moving as, I don't know, as agile as I'd seen them previously. And so I was umming and eyeing to myself that, could this be the same person I'm thinking of? Or maybe it's just somebody related to them, right? And so I thought to myself, and then somewhere in my head, I don't know why, I just concluded that was the person I was thinking of, right? And of course, rabbit hole in my head, I went, oh my God, they've been on the cakes, they've been on the chocolates, they've been on the biscuits, lockdown kilos. I mean, so I built this whole story, right, around why this person looked like that. Oh my God, I need to report myself. So when I had my session with my personal trainer, he then said, oh my God, he pointed at this person and said, do you remember that? That person is actually one of my clients, right? And so I was like, I wonder why he's telling me this. I mean, I know half the gym, are his clients. So I wasn't surprised that this is yet again another client of his. But I was wondering why he was having this conversation on this particular day. And so he said, oh no, that person's been very sick and something, and apparently their digestive system isn't working properly and they've been on steroids and blah, blah, blah. And of course, if you know anything about steroids, one of the side effects of steroids is it makes you blow up, right? So of course, this person had come back to the gym saying, I don't want to look like this. I don't like how this is making me feel. But guess what? In my head, I had built up a completely opposite story. I blamed chocolate, I blamed, cakes and pastries, and I'd actually like dissed this person in my head. I'd said, oh my God, all that hard work you did a few months ago, you were looking tip-top shape, you put everything down the drain, blah, blah, blah. I can't tell you how embarrassed I was when my personal trainer told me the real story. I actually had to confess. I said, you don't want to know what I was thinking about this person. So I told him, and he went like that. He was like, no, you didn't. I said, yes, I did. And he was like, oh my God, why would you say? I said, but most people have come out of lockdown with lockdown kilos. He said, yes, but not everybody has come out of lockdown with lockdown kilos. It could be something else. And so when I was thinking of this topic, I thought to myself, oh my God, Ivié, you do this. I mean, you don't even do it half by half. You kind of like go the whole, 9 yards and then some. And I thought, oh my God, this is embarrassing, right? So that's a personal example. Then if I think of the workplace, there's a particular colleague new to the department. And I just thought, oh my God, this person's slow. I'm not going to ask this person to do anything. I'll just get it done myself. Because I mean, the first few conversations I've had with this individual, I was like, oh my God, if I have to repeat myself one more time, I might as well just get on and do it, right? It would be faster. But what I didn't know was this person had, I mean, this is not like a quota hire, but my organization tries to give everybody a fair chance. So if we feel you have the baseline competency level to do the job, right, we make reasonable adjustments as well. So we will give you whatever tools you need to do the job because we believe you can, right? So of course, this was one of those hires, and I had no background to this hire, right? But I had ruled this person off in my head saying, oh my God, I mean, any slower, we'll be going backwards kind of thing, right? I built this whole story in my head, only for me to be in a union meeting with HR. And oh my God, they then said to me, oh no, we do have a few people with special needs and we need to get, like special equipment for them, blah, blah, blah. And I'm on that like group that discusses the cost and the budget and stuff like that. So of course we were going through the individuals and what they would need. And this person's name came up. Well, if the ground could open up and swallow me right there and then, I think I would have been saved the embarrassment, because I probably went red. Because when I heard this person's name, I could not believe how I had written this person off and had not given this person any work, because I was like, you know what? If I've got to explain myself one more time, I'm just going to do it myself. So that's me. I mean, I'm like putting my hands and feet up and confessing live, and it's being recorded, that, oh my God, I make assumptions all the time. And I don't know what the cost of those assumptions have been like in reality. But, I'm just saying to myself this week, oh my God, when you go back to work on Thursday, because I've taken a few days off, I thought, birthday, whatever, I just wanted time out, right? When I go back, I said, no, I've got to put this into practice. I can't go back making assumptions like that, right? So I'm really feeling like, oh my God, I need to focus on this. I need to work on this. I need to make sure I'm not, like labeling people. I'm not writing people off before I give them a chance. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to be like 100% perfect. And I'm not saying I'm not going to like be Speedy Gonzalez on certain things, because if I'm chasing a deadline, I will. But oh my God, the stories I make up in my head, I'm so creative. Oh my God, I embellish, I add details. It becomes so flowery, and it's actually scary, right? So I just said to myself, no, I need to watch that. I mustn't do that again. So this is as true for me, and it's like a reminder for me as anything I'm sharing here. And I don't know if anybody has examples of what they've done in their businesses by making assumptions. And if if it's cost you financially or cost you relationships. I don't know if you want to share with us today, but that's what was coming up for me. And I was just like, oh my God, we make assumptions all the time. And half of the assumptions, in fact, all the assumptions we make, in my opinion, are not true. They're just things we conclude. They're stories we make up in our heads to make ourselves feel good, right? And to kind of like justify the other person's actions. The only person in any conversation we can control is me, is you. I can't control the other party. So why will I start making assumptions about their behavior or lack thereof, right? So, I mean, when I read that story and I heard that story about the guy at the party, I thought to myself, oh my God, that could easily be me. Meanwhile, this guy was blind. I mean, it's not his fault he didn't see the hand, right? So I don't know if you guys want to share your stories. I mean, I've kind of like put myself out there, so I'm feeling very vulnerable at the moment. So somebody please come out and rescue me. So that's what was coming up for me, the tragedy of assumptions. As we build our businesses, as we move forward with our goals, with our dreams, we are making relationships, we are starting relationships, we are making connections. We just need to be aware not to make assumptions and cost ourselves really great relationships in the long term just because we make conclusions that are not necessarily true right now in the short term. So that's what was coming up for me today. Virginia, you've got your hand up. Over to you.
Unmute. Hi. Good afternoon, evening in the UK. Good morning over here, sort of in the United States. So, couple of things. I'm very guilty of this, and I have learned by going to nursing school in my late life that I have to do an assessment first. I have to ask questions, I have to assess, I have to figure out what's going on before I make my assumption. Before I forget, would you repeat your personal definition of assumptions? The first one. I got the second one. I wasn't able to write down the first one on there, and I'd like to write that down.
All right. So the two definitions I gave were assumptions are the mother of all F-ups. I'm not going to say what the F stands for
Gotcha.
online, otherwise John will have my
Mother
head.
of all. Got it.
F-ups.
Okay.
The second
Got
one
it.
is assumptions make an A-double-S out of you and me.
Yes.
So the word assume, A-double-S out of you and me, assume. So those are my definitions.
Super. And I don't know about where you grew up, but over here in high school, we went to the football games. And you gathered with your little clique of girls. And I wasn't in a cliquish kind of, I wasn't cheerleader or any of that stuff. I was more the nerdy honor society type girls. But you still would be, and you would look at everybody and you'd say, oh, look at what she's wearing, or oh, look at this. And so I think a lot of this may have started way back from those years where we were no longer just playing with everybody, but we got more cliquish and we made our minds up about someone or something based on that, and it may have perpetuated. Also, I know I had a mother who was very judgmental, and so I tried not to be, but that's kind of an inbred thing. And then I'm really learning now to just mind my own business, don't even have an opinion. Don't even think about it. For instance, my daughter and her husband and the two little grandkids are getting ready on Thursday to take about a 6-hour driving trip to go up by Mount Rushmore in Rapid City, South Dakota, and spend some time with his family who's coming in from other areas and whatnot. So I'm just biting my lips because I don't see the evidence. So I'm making an assumption they haven't prepared the car, normal car maintenance, make sure the car is ready, it's flu shot season. Are we going to get that? But I have to just bite my tongue because I can remember those trips in the cars growing up where a generator went out, something went out, and now you're stuck in the middle of this little town paying this mechanic this unbelievable amount of money to fix something that because you didn't think about preparing your different things. So again, I'm just going to okay, hope I don't get a call while they're on the road, because I'm assuming because I haven't seen it and I do live with them, we're in the same house, that they haven't done this work. Okay. But if I were to ask, they might have said yes. Or if I were to ask, they might go, oh, the car will be fine. We just got an oil change recently, assumption. So, I think, I don't know if everybody does it, these assuming things, our mind processes what our senses are taking in, and we come to a conclusion, So yeah, it's a great topic. I appreciate that. And one last thing I wanted to mention is I think, I don't know about your upbringing, but in my upbringing, I was supposed to marry Prince Charles. What's the guy's name in England? Okay, I was supposed to grow up, be that American who went to England and captured the prince's heart. That was what my mom put on me. You're good enough to do that. Okay, I don't know how Camilla, is that her name, would have felt about that, and Diane and all that, but that's what I was supposed to have done. So we're raised with these high levels of you're better than other people, you can achieve more than other people, you're smarter than other people, you're prettier than other people, blah, blah, blah. And I think that too sets a mindset of then when you see other people, you just, oh yeah, well, they're just trailer trash, or they're just, someone who didn't bother, or, whatever. So I think the number of factors, at least from my point of view in my life, that have affected my making assumptions and consequently judgments that are wrong.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. Our environment, our backgrounds, our family relationships, all of that kind of stuff weighs into how we see the world. And that's why this platform is so important, because we're personally developing ourselves to be better, to do better, to have better. So we're reprogramming some of those things that we've been fed through the years. Some of that stuff that's actually sitting in our DNA would literally reprogram from a nuclear cellular level, because the kind of person we want to be going forward is not where we're coming from, right? So for some of us, that work is going to be more of an overhaul than others. For some, it might just be a few aspects that need, a bit of tweaking. But I think, yeah, when it comes to assumption, because my mom was a big, oh my God, big influence in that, and she still continues to be. So I check my conversations with her to make sure I'm not falling back into that trap when I'm talking with her. I kind of like say to her, Mom, I don't want to go there, right? I'm not equipped. I'm not skilled to have that conversation. I don't know them well enough. I'm not their therapist. I'm not their, whatever it is. I kind of like, excuse myself from having that conversation. So yeah, I'm beginning to know what the triggers are, and I can see the environments that are set up for that kind of mentality. And so I just, nicely, walk away, politely walk away. Because we want to be people of integrity, and we want to develop ourselves, thanks to John. So yes, that's why we're here. We're getting better and better every day in every way.
You got it.
Thank you so much, Virginia. Who else wants to weigh in on this subject? Hi, Mandy. Hi, Lindsay. I can see them, but I can't hear them. Okay. Is it going to be a short session today? Hey, Emma. Oh, wow. I didn't see you. Over to you. Hello.
Hello. I'm out on a walk, so I have been listening. Apologies, my husband phoned halfway through, but
That's all right.
yes,
okay.
I love this topic. I think it's so important. Like you say, it's like I had an interesting one this year where I've been working with somebody in Europe quite a lot doing sourcing, who's like my right hand person who deals with the factories out there. And there was one week where I thought, God, he's acting really strange. He's just not coming back to me. And he was really sharp on all the emails. And I was like, so I think my previous self a long time ago would have probably been quite harsh back maybe on an email, but I thought, this isn't quite like him. So I gave him the benefit of the doubt for a couple of days. And sure enough, he came back and said he was suffering with COVID. And so I was like, oh my God, no wonder you've been acting so strange. He went, I'm so sorry, I've been probably a bit short and blah, blah, blah. He was saying that to me. And I was like, oh my God, no, more, how are you? How's everything? Yeah. How's your family? So I think you're totally right. I think you have to give people the benefit of the doubt. It's even a bit like when you're in the car and you've got people who've got road rage. And often I think to myself, maybe they're just having a really bad day and you're kind of the brunt of it. Whereas, I think probably previously I'd probably think, God, that person's a right idiot. And I'll probably use my non-PC language like yourself, but I won't. And it's kind of, you just got to give people that allowance, haven't you, to just think maybe they're just having a bad day, or maybe somebody's passed away, or something that's just happened to them. And so I just try and give people a lot more kind of time and tolerance. I think it's a really good topic. Thanks for that, Ivié. It's a good reminder.
You're welcome. Thanks, Emma.
Lovely to see you in red.
Thank you.
No, the
birthday celebrations continue the rest of the month. So.
I don't blame you. Oh,
thanks, Emma. Is the dog with you?
Yes, she's. Let me just turn the camera. She's quite far down there. She's got the biggest stick in the world.
My God, she's gone like a bullet.
Come on, Willow, look at the stick. Look, that's like quarter of the size.
Stick. Okay, alrighty.
That's quarter of the size of the stick that it was. It was like more like a tree earlier.
Hi, Willow. Thanks, Emma.
No worries. See you later.
Does anybody else want to weigh in on this? Oh, Virginia has just put something in the chat. She says when the driver in front of her is going really slow, she imagines they have a wedding cake in the car. That's a good one, Virginia. Yeah, because if you have a very special cake, you don't want it to topple over. Yeah, so you will be driving slowly. I'm going to use that one because I tend to say people fall asleep at traffic lights, and I'm like, come on, it's green, let's move already. But yeah, I say, oh, they've had a nap. So yeah, but I like that wedding cake one, so I'm going to use that. Thank you. Does anybody else want to weigh in on this? Otherwise, we get more than half an hour back. Okay, so I don't know that we have metaphors for success this evening. I didn't see it in the diary. But just note to everyone, it's Edward Mosley's birthday tomorrow, 15th of September, right? So we will put something out, but just as many of us are on here, let's bombard him with the JLSM type of attention. Let's embarrass him and just, yeah, love upon him and let him just know that he's part of the family. So that's Edward Mosley tomorrow. And I don't think we have anything else on the calendar tonight. So if nobody else has any thoughts to share on this, I will see you all on the general session tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me. Cheers, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.